temperatures, upper 80s to near 90 tonight, lingering shower lows near 70. For the weekend, still a bit unsettled Saturday, a few afternoon showers and storms with only isolated showers and storms Sunday. Looking for a new career with over 200 programs of study, Georgia Northwestern is now accepting applications for fall semester. Get focused, get hired. For more, visit gntc.edu. And I'm Sports 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Orr. On AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Dangerous. Oh,
Yeah, baby, damn full of fact.
Yo, what's up to Ralph T and Johnny G?
Yeah,
And I can't forget about my boy B Brown.
and the whole Andy crew.
This is David Tulis with a special report here at AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio on a matter of great import here in Hamilton County and Chattanooga. North of Chattanooga is a water district, Northwest Utility District, which is going to vote on Tuesday on something of import for everyone who uses water in his life. And that would be in drinking, in cooking, in bathing, in swimming. And that is, does water that comes from your faucet have fluoride in it, or is it pure? The Northwest Utility District 7-member board will be voting on a proposal by the general manager, David Collette, to eliminate fluoride from the water. And David Collette's arguments are very politic. They're very reasoned, and it is he avoids in his presentation in May. He avoided the high controversy over fluoride. Is it a poison? Is it a neurotoxin that damages children and the nervous systems of people? The effects showing up only in later years, or is it, as the tooth doctor tribe, the dental business says, is it a benefit, a general benefit for health? Eliminating tooth decay, hardening enamel in children's teeth, and washing the mouths of adults with fluoride as they drink and swallow and salivate. Is it a benefit or is it a danger? And we're going to look at this question today, not in too deep a scientific level, I don't suppose, but one in which I think we can approach you, our listener here at AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. We are brought to you by Diesel Off-Road Technology in Saudi Daisy, the truck and off-road vehicle repair and upgrade giant. It is a giant business, Diesel Off-Road Technologies in Saudi Daisy. We want you to go there. Now, again, my name is David Tulis, and we're going to talk with some people who have a great interest in this question of pure water. One of them is Chaisa Smith. She is a resident of Saudi Daisy with her husband, Eric, and this couple has 2 children. Chaisa Smith, tell us why you are involved in this bid to urge a board to vote against fluoride. Why do you care about this?
Well, David, it's been established that the fluoride that is used to fluoridate our water is actually hydrofluorosilicic acid. It is a waste product of the phosphate fertilizer industry. There's nothing natural about that, though. You know, the element fluorine is a natural occurring ion, but however, what they're using to fluoridate our water with is nothing but a waste. It is a waste product.
And but there is a benefit. Do the critics of fluoride deny that fluoride toughens tooth enamel?
They don't deny that. As far as me opposing it, I personally, from what I've seen, no, I don't believe that it really helps. I believe there's more harm done than there would be a benefit.
Chaisa Smith and others are circulating a petition, probably maybe already turned in,
Yes.
with the signatures of local folks who are customers among the 7,500 customers of Northwest Utility District in North Hamilton County, asking the board members to take the safe and cautious route and to vote no. We have on the phone with us a nurse in Brentwood, Tennessee. Her name is Karen Smith. Karen Smith is overseer, Karen French, overseer of the Tennessee Coalition for Safe Drinking Water. And Karen, you made an appearance in Saudi Daisy a couple of weeks ago working on this petition. Why do you care about fluoride, and why should the listener here at AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio care as well?
Well, I'll tell you that Tennesseans need a choice.
and Saudi Daisy residents need a choice. Every citizen in the world needs a choice about whether to have this added to their water. And I agree with Chaisa. It is a pharmaceutical grade product. We are under the impression by the dental professionals that this is sodium fluoride or calcium fluoride or some sort of more pure form of fluoride, but this is a crude compound that's collected from the smokestacks of industry. And this product that's been put in our water has never been tested for clinical trials. It's an unapproved drug. FDA does not approve it. The EPA says you can't put it in the waters, the streams, or the oceans. You can't put it in any waterways. Yet we put it in our drinking water. And the interesting thing is that the decision to put it in the water is always local. It's by design, it's always local. There's no federal law that says you have to put fluoride in the water. There's no federal agency that says you have to put fluoride in the water. There's no state law in Tennessee that says you need to put fluoride in the water. This is all a personal choice by each water district, sometimes the city council. In Saudi, it is the actual water board that makes that decision. Now, many of these decisions were made years and years ago, and the current boards are, we're involved in that at that time. But we believe that people need a choice because there's no biological need for that chemical in our body. It is not a nutrient. It's not like vitamin C or vitamin D. It is a medication, a chemical that's being used as a medication, and it has no medicinal purposes.
There's a doctor, a dentist here in Hickson, in North Chattanooga, Karen French, who says that the language that I used in my interview with him at Nooganomics.com of it being a mass medical procedure is inaccurate. And he calls it an initiative to help fight tooth decay. In other words, it's not a medication. He says it's not a pharmacological thing that is put into the water, and yet it is seen as a kind of pharmacopoeia. It is a medicine that has a benefit, some kind of benefit, an ostensible benefit to tooth enamel in children at first.
Well, he's right in what he's saying. That's his belief system, but there is no reason that he needs to take his practice outside of his office and give that responsibility to the water district.
Yes.
There's no other medicine delivered through the water. And it's really a ridiculous thing to think that we need a continual, non-consensual dental treatment for everyone in the community. Water's for everyone, but fluoride is not. We all have different sensitivities to certain things. Some people can't eat cucumbers. Some people can't drink milk. And with fluoride, there are many people that have sensitivities to it, and it's just fundamentally wrong to distribute any substance for medical reasons through the public water system.
Well, what are some of the sensitivities?
It's fundamentally wrong.
Karen French, you're a nurse in Brentwood, Tennessee, and this is David Tulis. What, Karen, are some of the sensitivities that fluoride brings to patients who have it or consumers of it?
Well, it is known by the National Research Council through a huge amount of study by many professionals, that it is an endocrine disruptor, and your endocrine system is all your hormonal influences in your body. Your thyroid, your adrenals, your ovaries, your testes, your pituitary gland, all of those things are your endocrine system. And the thing that they have noticed in the medical community is that there's an epidemic of thyroid disease. And what has actually specifically caused it has not been identified, but we do know that fluoride is an endocrine disruptor based on the scientific studies. So if we have that in epidemic proportions with other toxins, we do know that we are delivered this purposely. Other toxins sometimes are not purposely delivered to individuals, and they're certainly not put into the water system. This is just so wrong for medical practice and medical consent. Medical consent is a fundamental tenet of medical practice, and this completely circumvents all of that. There's no other medicine delivered through the water, and the municipality should not be responsible for dental treatment or dental care.
So aspirin is not delivered through the water. Statins are not delivered through the water. Cholesterol inhibitors, back when that was faddish, back in the 90s, that is not delivered through the water. And that's what you're saying. There shouldn't be a medical benefit of any kind, even if it is a benefit, coming through the water supply to innocent people. Karen.
No, it really shouldn't be. Even if it's a vitamin, it's not. That is all personal choice, and we all need to take responsibility for our own dental health. I love my dentist, and my dentist knows that I'm sensitive to fluoride, and he's aware that I don't drink fluoridated water. He's aware that I don't use fluoridated toothpaste, and he's pleased with that because the plaque buildup on my teeth has decreased and the brown stains on my teeth are diminished. And so there is benefit for stopping it. Also, when I stopped it, the medications that I'm on, which one of them is thyroid, every one of my medications decreased when I changed my drinking water and my toothpaste over a period of 12 months. Went down. One went down 1/4, and another one went down as much as 2/3 of the dosage. So fluoride affects a lot of things, and it's just time we let people make their own choice about it and take it out of the hands of the water district.
This is David Tulis. We're at AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. Thank you for joining us here for a special report on fluoride in Hamilton County. There is a bid Tuesday by the Northwest Utility District to end the practice of fluoridation. There are 7,500 customers in this North County district. And I have here in the studio with me Chaisa Smith, who's a mother of two, resident of Saudi Daisy, a customer of this district. Chaisa, Dr. Brian Schenk, who runs the Dental Society in Hamilton County, says, we feel it is the best way for the public to be exposed to the benefits of the fluoride rather than having to go to a dentist to receive it. That's according to his interview with me at the website for the Man Who Matters, Nooganomics.com. So he's saying that you should have, the listener, should have a benefit in fluoride, but you shouldn't have to go to a dentist to receive it, because he does offer services in the fluoride area. Does he not, do you suppose?
Well, my question is, who made the dental experts on fluoride? That just goes back to the choice. If I choose to ingest this, then I can go to the dentist to get it, just because he thinks, or the dental community thinks, that we shouldn't have to go do that to get it. Why force everyone to take it? It goes back to the choice. It should be a choice. If you choose to have it, there's plenty in the toothpaste already with a warning to call poison control if more than that pea-size amount is swallowed. Yeah, and I believe it's Kieran might help me out on this one and know that it is in the glass of water. I believe it's 0.4 milligrams or 4 milligrams in the pea-size amount of toothpaste yet. In an 8-ounce glass of water, it's 25. And we're not told to call poison control after we ingest the glass of water, but after the toothpaste, yes.
The distribution of the district, according to David Collette, the general manager, is now 0.7 parts per million. In other words, less than 1 part per million is fluoride in the water that you drink. So if a cup of water has a million drops in it, or a glass of water has a million drops in it, apart from the ice cubes, then one of those is some tiny fragment of this industrial waste product. Well, to get to my question further, Chaisa Smith, the dental tribe says that it does offer fluoride services. For example, it does recommend that we brush our teeth with toothpaste, which has a great deal of it in there. And also, as he said in the interview, if you need fluoride for your tooth enamel, then you can take Floridical, which is a medication you can buy at Walmart, these are supplements, tablets that bring fluoride into your body. Again, what is the question here, Chaisa Smith?
Well, if you choose to take the tablet, then you can go buy the tablet. But I personally don't choose to put it into my system through the drinking water. Even the CDC has acknowledged that there's no topical benefit. Or no systematic benefit, excuse me. It's only a topical benefit. And the FDA has never approved it for anything. So, it just goes back to really why force everyone to take this? Like Karen had mentioned, some people have their own personal health concerns on this, and it has actually been found by the EPA that it can cause bone cancer, liver cancer. I mean, these are studies that were done by one of the top scientists at the EPA. So why force that on everyone else? Because you have people that have cancers and other diseases that could be messing with their disease that they currently have. So it should not be forced on anyone.
Well, at the initial meeting, this is David Tulis. I do thank you for joining us here at AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio, the station for the man who matters and the person who matters as well. And we are looking at the fluoride question in North Hamilton County. There's a vote Tuesday, and our suggestion is that you before 3 o'clock today, that you send an email. Now, here's where you need to go to send the email, and that is to the Northwest Utility District website. And here it is. Write this down. It's nwud.net. That's nwud.net, and go to the contact window on the right choice there on the little menu, and just drop a line to the board saying, please eliminate fluoride from the water. When David Collette announced by letter to all the customers that fluoride was being considered for elimination, he says he did not get a single objection. So the defenders of fluoride are very few. And I do want to report, if you go to Nooganomics.com, you learn the details. But the dental tribe, which showed up en masse for the first meeting in May, has been pretty quiet about supporting fluoridation. I think because they realize it's compulsory, they realize it's involuntary, and somehow I believe Chisa Smith and Karen French, our nurse on the phone from Brentwood, I believe that the dentists are leery of openly and noisily supporting fluoride. If this were the 1970s or 60s, I think there would have been much resistance to this proposal.
Yes.
What do you make of that?
Yes, I do believe there would have been. Excuse me. It is very, as far as the safety concerns goes, in my opinion, the industrial grade, this is not a pharmaceutical grade product. So therefore, it goes back to the choice to me on why we should ingest this. Why should anyone be forced? And like Karen had mentioned as well, why should the water districts be responsible for a health issue? You know, who's going to take the liability on that? Will it be the water districts? Will it be the industry that provides the hydrofluorosilicic acid to the water floor companies?
Well, these are questions. Now, if you want to find out more about this, this is David Tulis. Go to the website that's the sponsor of my regular show, and that is Nooganomics.com. I've been covering this issue fairly extensively. There's a video, for example, of the plant manager at the Saudi Daisy plant. His name is Steve Roark, and he shows us the fluoride room, this little chamber, this very smelly chamber where this acid is dripped into the water. There are about 2.5 million gallons of water a day are produced, and about 80 gallons of that are fluoride from this tank room at the plant. And Mr. Roark and another man named Daryl Burchard, who oversees the Sale Creek plant for this district, both are against fluoride. They showed up at the meeting declaring to the board members that fluoride is a health hazard to them. They are uneasy about it. They've never liked being around it. They're fearful of it. The video at Nooganomics.com, also on our Hot News Talk Radio Facebook page, suggests that the acidic nature is real. And look at the door in that room. Look at the pitted floor where acid drops have come down. Now, of course, the objection is to that kind of observation is, well, anything in high concentration is bad for you. Anything in a high concentration can be considered toxic, whether it's donuts or coffee. If you have too much of anything, you could perhaps perish or become very sick from it. I understand that, but it is a kind of acid, and the people in the business of the district, generally, everyone I've met has expressed approval of the proposal that General Manager David Collette has made. He made it in a very neutral way, but informing the board. Chisa, tell my listener and Karen French, if you could just hang on for a minute, tell the listener a little bit about some of the things that are connected with the cost of fluoride for this district.
Well, for Saudi Daisy, the city of Saudi Daisy spends around $20,000 annually on the fluoride, just to have it there and for maintenance. $7,500 of that is actually spent on the chemical. The remaining amount is solely on maintenance for this chemical because it is highly corrosive. 1% of the water in the municipal water is ingested. So 99% of all fluoridated water literally goes down your drain through car washes, showers, laundry, etc. So, I mean, how many people do you really know that drink the tap water anyway? So it's really very ineffective, very, very inefficient. Well, you shouldn't, David. You can invest in a water filter for now, but it is very inefficient. I don't think our city should be spending that much money to fluoridate water when there's actually so many people that are opposed to it, and we shouldn't be forced to put it into our bodies if we don't want to.
We have on the phone Karen French, a nurse in Brentwood, Tennessee. She runs the Tennessee Coalition for Safe Drinking Water. Karen, what's another point that you would, if you could talk to any of the 7 board members, let's say Jack Kane or Jeff Templeton, the barber up in Saudi Daisy, what would you say to try to convince these members to vote against fluoride?
Well, I believe they have a big responsibility as board members, and I do know that they are not responsible for initially putting it in, and they can be responsible for taking it out. It's fundamentally wrong to ignore all the risks and maximize the benefits for the public for an outdated policy. The science does not support it. Science never supported it initially. That was twisted. And the science today specifically does not support it, especially for individuals that have disproportionate harm. I'm one of those. My children are one of those. There's genetic reasons. People of certain color are genetically predisposed to disproportionate harm. People who have kidney disease shouldn't be drinking it. Diabetics shouldn't be drinking it. People with thyroid disease shouldn't be ingesting this. It's just fundamentally wrong to ignore all those risks and think that one dose is all, everybody is okay with it. Not everybody is okay with every food. I have a child who's allergic to milk. There's people who are allergic to all kinds of different foods. I have grandchildren who are allergic to different foods. We don't give them those foods. You just don't do that when someone's allergic. And in the situation with fluoride, there's many people that are sensitive once they get off. They find out, certain things are gone from their body. Yes. It is actually what they call an adjuvant. It can aggravate certain conditions. Fluoride can aggravate certain conditions in your body. And remember, it's not pharmaceutical grade sodium fluoride or naturally occurring calcium fluoride. This is toxic waste, crude compound from smokestacks that is being dripped into our water, and it contains other things besides hydrofluorosilicic acid.
We will get to
that. Enough. It also has mercury, lead, and arsenic. And the toxicity of fluoride is somewhere between arsenic and lead. Neither of those should be in our water, and those go in the water with the hydrofluorosilicic acid. So,
this is David Tulis. We're talking with Karen French in Nashville. She's a member of the Tennessee Coalition for Safe Drinking Water, and we are looking at the prospect of eliminating fluoride in Hamilton County. There's a vote coming up Tuesday, and at the Northwest Utility District. And I have here in the studio a resident of Saudi Daisy who runs the Saudi Daisy Clean Pure Water Facebook page. Karen is with the Tennessee Coalition for Safe Drinking Water. Together, they're trying to stimulate interest in a public that's increasingly aware of government programs, government legacy programs that have lost their reasoning, have lost really their scientific support or their pseudo-scientific support. And we're going to look next at something that's very compelling, and that is the lack of data. The lack of data that the utility district has about the contents of the fluoride. It contains arsenic and chromium and mercury. These ingredients are in the fluoride that you, my listener, are drinking if you live in North Hamilton County. It's in there. Now, the question is, how much? How much is acceptable? Well, there's good news. These ingredients are in the water and in the fluoride that is injected by the board into the water. But it passes. They all pass. They get a passing grade. But that is not satisfactory to me. And neither is it satisfactory to David Collette, the general manager. He is asked, we want details. How much arsenic is in the water, in the fluoride that we're buying from you, supplier, distributor? How much is in there? how much barium, how much chromium, how much mercury, how much lead, how much selenium. This is David Tulis. We are talking with Jason Smith, and we're going to talk next to a water industry expert on what the story really is.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Hot 1240 Hot News Talk Radio with your Hot News Now update. A train was derailed, dumping thousands of gallons of diesel fuel on the ground and almost killing a truck driver. His cab was torn from his vehicle and thrown 50 yards away from the scene of the crash. The train conductor and engineer also suffered minor injuries. Norfolk Southern is investigating the crash to determine what exactly happened. Cleanup crews were on scene trying to clean up the diesel fuel. They should be finished by now. A Chattanooga attorney was shot in Catoosa County after a family says he entered their home uninvited. Police say he threatened the couple and threw potted plants at them. When they asked him to leave, he wouldn't. They fired a warning shot. When he wouldn't leave after that, they fired another shot into him. He was found by police in his car suffering from a gunshot wound. Why he did what he did is still not known. And Hot News Talk Radio remembers when terror hit home here in Chattanooga with the July 16th terror attacks that killed 5, now known as the Fallen 5, and to remember how the community came together following that attack. If it's going on in the Tennessee Valley, it's going on Hot 1240 Hot News Talk Radio.
Wow, we're not in Kansas anymore. Check out all these awesome guitars, amps, pedals, banjos, and so much more.
Suddenly, you're transported. You are on stage. Anticipation. Your fans are counting on you. You begin to play. Ecstasy, excitement, artistry and chaos, thundering applause, rock and roll.
Charvel, Gretsch, Supro, Jackson, EVH. Fulfill your dreams. Guitar, piano lessons, and more. Located at the corner of Boy Scout and Middle Valley Road in Soddy Daisy. Judah Guitar Music Store, where all your wildest dreams come true. Call 423-618-9911. Judah Guitar Music Store, where all your wildest dreams come true.
Rubber's tough, but foam rubber is soft. Foam rubber is the star at Stuff It Upholstery, which uses it to revive your couch, your embarrassing easy chair, your boat seat cushions. Stuff It Foam Rubber in Hickson covers Chattanooga and surrounding areas. Don't throw out that favorite easy chair that's grown haggard and barbaric. New life for your seat cushions. Premium auto-grade rubber foam for your restaurant, church, or business. Stuff It Upholstery brings comfort and relief. Go ahead, skid away from flat, dull, and droopy cushions. Relax, restore, revive. When comfort matters, stuff it. 4608 Hickson Pike, 877-1616. Ask for Larry. That's 877-1616.
Here comes Dale Earnhardt Jr. He's got third. He's going for second. Earnhardt going for the lead.
The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series is on the Motor Racing Network.
Hot News Talk 1240.
Hear it live on the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Check it out live on Chattanooga's official NASCAR radio station.
Hot News Talk 1240.
This is David Tulis. You're at AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio, the station for the man who matters, the station for the human being who matters. And we are here with a special report. And there's something you need to do today before 3 o'clock. Before 3 p.m. today, you need to write an email. And here's the party to whom you need to write it. It's the Northwest Utility District, headquartered in Soddy Daisy, serving 7,500 people who are all drinkers of water, H2O. And the query is this. Do we want to have fluoride in the water for another century, poisoning ourselves, or do we want to have pure water? And the last villain may be chlorine. I don't know about that. I haven't really thought about chlorine, but chlorine is still there. But fluoride is a needless additive, and you need to go to the following website. Write this down, a website, and to the contact window. It's nwud.net. That's nwud.net. And go to the contact window and say, you put in your name and your email address and say, please vote to eliminate fluoride. Fluoride is Fluoride. I've seen it misspelled a lot, and I've misspelled it too, but it's fluoride, and ask that it be ended. Not a single person among all these customers said anything in objection when the general manager of this water district sent a letter out saying, we are planning on voting on elimination of fluoride in North Hamilton County. Not a single caller, not a single email, not a single piece of written correspondence on paper under a stamp came to that board saying, no, we need to keep fluoride. And yet there is some background support from the dental industry, the tooth doctors who believe in tooth fairies. And among those beliefs is that fluoride is harmless and has been proven over and over again, as they say, to be harmless in any fashion to the human body. But tooth doctors have a very narrow focus in their advocacy for fluoride, which has been, I'd say, very muted. It has been muted in the past month and a half. And the reason it's minimal is because they realize that it is a mass compulsory system. It is a mass compulsory involuntary medication of the populace for ostensibly their benefit. And yet the doctors, when they spoke up at a May meeting of this board, were very noble indeed. They said, we support fluoride even though it hurts our business. If you drop fluoride, there'll be a rash, just a plague of tooth decay, and that'll increase our business. So they come across as noble, cutting into their own profit to support fluoride. But there's more to it than that, and they have been very quiet in their advocacy of it. I went to 2 dental offices in Saudi Daisy. Neither of them had open petitions of the kind that was anticipated. So there's little support for fluoride, and among the people in Saudi Daisy, among common people who signed petitions and made noise about it, as Chaisa Smith has, there is a strong sense that it is an inequitable and unjust policy being run by this board. The current members of the board, there are 7 of them, include Jack Kane, Phyllis Marr, Carlos Wilson, Jim Farmer, Jeff Templeton, Bill McGriff, and Hugh Coulter. These are people who haven't really thought about this issue, and fluoride is being injected not because they want it to be there, not because they're insisting that it's a benefit, but because it's a legacy policy from their predecessors on this very sleepy board in North Hamilton County. And so now suddenly they're having to research an issue, a controversy they are part of. And I think they're probably unwilling to be a part of it, but here it is. It has come before them. And people such as Karen French from the Tennessee Coalition for Safe Drinking Water, people such as David Tulis, that's me, your host, we have pressed to their notice the danger of this waste product from the phosphate industry. Chaisa, tell my listener why you are against it. Tell us who you are briefly. Tell us a little bit about your husband, his work in the chemical business, and what is wrong with fluoride? What's the nutshell argument against it?
Well, I'm Chaisa Smith. I'm actually a resident of Saudi Daisy, a customer of Northwest Utility District. My husband, Eric, and I have 2 children, 2 girls, ages 7 and 12. I believe it's hazardous to everyone who ingests it. It's never been approved by the FDA. The CDC acknowledges that it's topical benefit only. It's already in our toothpaste. So even on the back of that, we are told to call poison control if we ingest more than that pea-size amount of toothpaste. So why would we have it in the water with nobody is held liable for anything with the fluoride being in the water? There is no warning to call poison control if you ingest a certain amount of water. And I really don't see how it can be safe across the board for children, for adults, the same amount of fluoride in the water. How can that be safe? There's no other medication that this certain amount is safe for everybody. Medication doses are adjusted, but based on the person, the age, the weight, the size, So why is fluoride safe at this level for everyone across the board, no matter what you may have going on as far as other health issues go? It's not.
If you want to say something about this to people who matter, the people who matter can be reached by email at nwud.net. That's nwud.net, and send an email saying, please end fluoridation of water. And I would say you should do it even if you're not a customer, because it's a matter of principle. It's a matter of principle that this involuntary subjugation, if you will, of the people to a legacy policy, which no one really cares about anymore, that it be brought to an end. Now, to give us some insight into that industry, we have on the phone Clark Culver. Clark he's 47 years old. He has been 16 years in the water industry. He is a licensed water treatment operator, grade 3 in one area, I think grade 2 in another. We'll ask him a little bit more about his experiences. He has fought fluoridation from entering in Hardin County. In other words, Hardin County had a political establishment in about 10 years ago that was bent on bringing this ostensible and pretended benefit to the people of that county. And he, as he will tell us a little bit, he helped fight that off, and he probably deserves credit for having done the large body of work to prevent that from happening. Clark, tell my listener why fluoride is something to be objected to.
Oh, yes. I have been in the water treatment business for 16 and a half years. I am a grade 3 water treatment, a grade 2 distribution operator. And I am licensed as a utility operator and sworn by credo by the AWWA and our local state boards and our local municipalities to provide the safest water possible to my customers. And that is what I'm ordered to do in order to keep my license. But my question is, how can I do this with a clear conscience if I'm being forced to put a known neurotoxin into the water treatment system that I have seen personally eat concrete up, edge slash, destroy fittings, pumps, pipes, all throughout the distribution system. And, you know, I'm doing this to my family and to my friends and all the customers. I can't do that with a clear conscience, knowing that that's what I'm doing. And I have been fighting this for quite some time, and I've been in the fight. I was able to keep it out of Pickwick First Utility and Hardin County, and it was quite an uphill battle, but was able to prevent that from ever being put into the water system, and have been instrumental in trying to help it get it taken out of other utilities too as well.
Well, one of the controversies that we want to look at now, Clark Culver, is the effort by David Tulis, the general manager at Northwest Utility District headquartered in Saudi Daisy, to get details about tests on batches of fluoride that are sold by probably by the half ton every time to the district. And David, as we've mentioned at Nooganomics.com, David Tulis is dissatisfied with the level of details. I think the main objection that he has is this: we get one batch is tested per year of all the fluoride that we buy, and that batch comes back with a pass given for ingredients within the fluoride liquid. It's a liquid. These include arsenic. Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about the corruptions that are within this pretended health benefit put into the water supply, Clark Culver?
Well, of course, every batch comes in, but they don't have batch analysis. So we are just given a rubber stamp from, like you said, from the beginning of the year when one batch is tested. So we don't know what levels we're putting in the water of arsenic, lead, all those other constituents that are in that batch of fluoride. So we're having to influence the water with something we really aren't sure of that we're putting in, and that's what I want to be a voice for. I want to be a voice for the utility workers that are putting this stuff into the water, and they can't do it with a clear conscience because they're not aware of what they're actually putting into water. People like David Rourke, David Corlett, Daryl Burchard, every one of these utility operators who does not have a voice. I'm trying to be a voice for them and let the people know of the unforeseen hazards of putting things into the water that go against our conscience, and you know, we're exposing people to high concentrations of all kinds of different things that aren't healthy for their bodies.
Well, tell the listener what are the ingredients that get a pass in the fluoride put into North Hamilton County water. I mentioned one of them, arsenic. What's wrong with arsenic, and what are some of the other elements?
Well, fluoride is, first of all, known as a known neurotoxin. Second of all, lead is definitely a neurotoxin. It has so many negative, you know, everybody knows about lead. And then we, of course, have arsenic. All these are things that are used in the cleaning process and the scrubbing process in the fertilizer industry to produce fluoride. And they could be high levels and they could be low levels. As long as they're within a parameter, as long as they're within a range, they're able to be put in the water. We don't know those ranges. We don't know those parameters, but there's a high and a low, and as long as they're within that, and that's across the whole entire batch and the batches that follow. So when fluoride comes to our utility, we're unsure of what is actually inside that, what they're calling fluoride. So that's what makes it dangerous, is the fluoride to begin with, which is a known neurotoxin, and then also the arsenic, the lead, the cadmium, all of the other heavy metals that are in the process of getting the fluoride to us. They're in that chemical.
Well, fluoride contains, among other things, according to the reports I've seen from the Northwest Utility District, chromium, copper, mercury, lead, and selenium. Now, I took selenium for a time as a supplement. Isn't that good for me?
No, not at the type of selenium that is actually in the fluoride. It is not the same type. Just the same as the fluoride. Fluoride can be naturally occurring, which most all utilities will have a naturally occurring fluoride. And those things are not naturally occurring. Those are different, and it's different in its scientific background and all, and so on and so forth. I'm not a scientist, but I do know a little bit about that. So these are things that are hazardous to our health.
This is David Tulis. We're talking with Clark Culver, who is a 16-year water industry veteran and a dissenter from the practice of fluoridation. He has kept fluoride out of Hardin County in West Tennessee, where he lives. That was about 10 years ago, and he's working to get fluoride to be eliminated elsewhere. So fluoride comes from an industry. Tell us a little bit about the phosphate industry and what wet scrubbing is, because fluoride is collected in the wet scrubbing pollution clearance process of fertilizer making. Talk a little bit about that, please.
Well, there is a pharmaceutical grade fluoride. There is a naturally occurring fluoride, and there is the low-level standard fluoride that we are getting at utilities, which has the arsenic, the lead, and all the other terrible product constituents in it. That's what we're That's what we're putting into the water, because it's not a pharmaceutical grade. It has so many other things in it that are harmful to our bodies. That's what the average person does not know and is not aware of. And so we're being asked as utility workers to put something in that we know that is going to hurt our children. And I think that goes beyond our conscience, and that's all we're asking for. Is I'm trying to be a voice for those people, to the unforeseen public, the hazards that operators are exposing to and are being exposed to because of these heavy metals, because of these other things that are found within the fluoride. And the scrubbing process is basically just a removal, byproduct of how that they make fertilizer. So after fertilizer has been made inside these towers, fluoride is collected on the walls. It's a byproduct, and it actually is used through air scrubbing and different means to remove that. And basically, it's then processed for it to be put into our water system. It's a byproduct of the fertilizer industry.
This is David Tulis. I do thank you, Clark Culver, for chatting with us. Don't go anywhere. We have here in the studio at AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio, the station for people who matter. That would be you, our listener today. We have here Chaisa Smith, who's the mother of 2 children and has been very delighted at the opportunity of encouraging 7 members of the board of Northwest Utility District in North Hamilton County to vote no on Tuesday. The no vote is in the direction of ending fluoride. I think if they say yes, they're going to be voting to end it. But we want them to say no to fluoride, whether it's a yes or no vote in the final, depending on the way the question is put. One question that we have, Chaisa, is about tooth decay. The main argument for fluoride is that it reduces tooth decay and is therefore a public health benefit, that should be publicly, in a mass way, administered. Talk a little bit about that and explain what I'm holding up here. I'm holding up for our YouTube viewer a chart. What's on the chart?
This chart actually shows countries. It is a comparison of countries that do not fluoridate to countries that do fluoridate. And as you can see, the top column here, those are all countries that do not fluoridate the water. And what this chart is showing you is over a period of time, this is from 1955 up until 2005, each country has a significant decrease in cavity rates, in tooth decay. So
doing what? What are they doing to reduce?
Well, I mean, if you think about it, it's hygiene. It's practicing better hygiene, brushing your teeth, flossing your teeth, making your regular visits to our dentist. I go to the dentist. I'm not against dentists by any mean. I just feel like they have been very misinformed, which, according to the article with your interview with Dr. Schneck, I believe that was his name. Shank. Okay.
Brian Shank.
Well, with Brian Shank, he stated in there that fluoride is a natural occurring ion. And so that lets me know that he, as a dentist, he is obviously misinformed, because although it is natural occurring, what's going into our water supply is not. And obviously, with the ones that are showing that they do not fluoridate, it's still the same decrease, and in some more without fluoridating.
So countries that do not have mass fluoridation don't have necessarily high tooth decay rates or cavity rates. That's what you're saying.
Exactly. So, if they don't, obviously it's not the fluoride that's keeping it here. I mean, over 40% of American teenagers now have dental fluorosis. So,
what is that?
Dental fluorosis, that's going to cause like the brown and white spots on your teeth. And a dentist will tell you that's just cosmetic. But I mean, how many people, and especially teenagers, are comfortable with walking around with spots on?
Well, I don't understand. What is fluorosis? Are you saying that's something that comes from fluoride?
Yes, that is. It's been stated that the dental fluorosis is the sign of a chronic fluoride issue, like over-fluoridation, basically. Yes, it is a form of poisoning. It's exactly what it is. And, lead, for years, lead was thought to be okay. And then they revisited the science and realized, this is not a good thing. So, your dentist will say, and your fluoride pushers will tell you, well, the science, science has been proven for years and years. But, the science back in the 40s and 50s, Dr. Trinley Dean was a chief dental officer for the ADA, and
the American Dental Association.
Yes, and he actually discredited his own studies under oath in 1955 because they did not follow the same children over the years. It was really just a bunch of data thrown together. It was not a true study.
We have on the phone with us Clark Culver, who is a 47-year-old, 16-year veteran of the water industry. He's a licensed water treatment operator, and he fought fluoridation from entering Hardin County, and finally it made him enemies. So Clark Culver, who are the supporters of fluoride, and who would make himself your enemy if you, as a water plant operator, are fighting the arrival of fluoride in a county? What is the interest in having it?
Yes, I fought against the dental industry, the people that were in power that were convinced that fluoride had value, and just people in general that had been told that it is the best thing since in the last century that's been added to the water system. With me in the water operational business, I've seen it do so many detrimental things to water pipes. I don't know if it's going to damage water pipes, pumps, and those type of things. It's going to be harmful. So I began to study it and began to research and began to find that the science that had been stated earlier on years ago was even found to be flawed, and even like Carissa said, that it was inaccurate. And so I saw that my own self. So I began to fight against it, and yes, I suffered the consequences of that because I had to work in that industry and work in that business, and so I felt like I was trying to be silenced, but by the powers of that were being there, that was trying to get it forced on the water system, and so they basically just was very vehement that they needed to put it in there, but they had no science to back themselves up.
Fluoridation is relatively new. It began just after World War II, and I think maybe Cleveland, Ohio, or one of those Midwestern cities, it was first put into the water supply. There was controversy immediately about it, and how it got there is something that's outside the scope of what we can talk about today. But there were high federal government interests and industrial interests that found a way of making profitable a waste product, finding value in recycling, and of course, recycling is a very good idea if you can make a profit from it. But injecting this chemical into the water and doing so involuntarily as to the customers poses real problems. So
I don't like being used as a filter for hazardous waste.
Right. We're talking here with Chisa Smith, who's the mother of two children, Saudi Daisy resident, and who has been active in alerting people to the prospect, to the bright prospect, I would say, of ending the fluoridation practice in North Hamilton County. That would involve many thousands of people. There are 7,500 customers. And if those include families, you have maybe 20, 30,000 people, maybe 40,000 people who are consumers of this product water that comes from Saudi Lake and also wells in Sale Creek. The Sale Creek plant is fed by wells. It's a much smaller operation than the Saudi Daisy plant. But the question is, should fluoride be injected as a pretended or ostensible benefit? And so let's see if we can just wrap it up here. We've got another minute or two. This is David Tulis, and you are at AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio, live on Facebook, live on YouTube, and again on Facebook. We are live on all of our live shows, and I do thank you for giving us just a couple of minutes of your time. What are the reasons, in a nutshell, Chase Smith, that the board should vote against fluoride? In 3 points. Boil it down for us.
Well, it's inefficient, which costs $20,000. Most of it goes down the drain. Only 1% is actually ingested. It's ineffective. Even the CDC has acknowledged there is no systematic benefit. The NIH-funded Iowa study found that fluoridation's benefits are mostly topical. According to the World Health Organization, fluoridated and non-fluoridated nations have essentially the same cavity rates as we showed you in our graph here. And it's unethical. Above all, we don't have a choice for this. This is something that we are forced to put into our bodies. Like I said, I do not like the fact that I'm used as a hazardous waste filter, and no one else should be used that way either. We should have the choice. And I do hope that you will choose to oppose this and come to our meeting on Tuesday at Northwest Utility District at 6 p.m. They will be voting then. Please go to the website nwud.net.
nwud.net, and there you are. It is suggested. I urge you to do it before 3 o'clock today. Before 3 today, yes. Drop a note to the board and say, please end fluoridation. That's all you have to say. They'll want your name. The website wants your name, and put in your email address, and just make a brief statement. Do it before 3 o'clock today, and that is the deadline that I'm giving you. Okay, I'm giving you, as your host, David Tulis here, that time, because the emails that come in have to be processed, they have to be counted, and the time is short. The vote is Tuesday. I would say, in a nutshell, that fluoride is bad because it's an involuntary mass medication. It's involuntary. No one has a choice. It is a chemically, it is a medically and physiologically affecting chemical. It changes your body. There was a lurid quote from one of the dentists at the first board meeting in which he said that fluoride changes bone growth, and that just shocked me. It was so strange for him to say that, and he's thinking just about the teeth. The dentists, I think, have kind of given up. Their support for fluoride is very weak, and we need to hope that it remains so. There is finally no indemnity by the chemical producers who sell fluoride to this district. The district is doing this voluntarily, and it has no legal protection, no legal shield against long-term health damages. This is David Tulis. I do thank you for joining us here at AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. Thank you, Chase Smith.
Thank you, David.
I've got a message for you.
News Talk 1240.
AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio, with your chance to win $124 in cash and $124 in food every week with the Hot News Talk Radio 1, 2, 3 NASCAR contest.
Hot News Talk 1240.
All you have to do is guess who's going to be first, second, and third place in the upcoming NASCAR Sprint Cup race. If you guess it, you'll hear your name live Monday morning at 11:30. Then call AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio to win. Enter your guess right now.